Grim reporting. Andrew Stoner, 50, Shadow Minister for Roads, Ports, State and Regional Development, has been leader of the Nationals for 7 years now. The wilderness of opposition may be about to end. The party has 13 seats in the 93-member state lower house and expects to pick up more. Needless to say, the party resents the interventions of those pesky independents, stopping what it hopes will be a strong anti-Labor swing to force a change of government next March. The party believes federal independent MP Rob Oakeshot's recent support for the Gillard minority government will make people think twice before trusting an independent in the state political context. The Nationals have been trying to rework their image over recent years as what's called sea changers and tree changers move into their coastal electorates. I caught up with Andrew Stoner in the National Party's inner sanctum at Parliament House. Andrew Stoner, thanks very much for talking to Stateline. Richard McGovern, the local businessman standing against you as an independent in your seat of Oxley, is right, isn't he? Rural and regional communities would have much more leverage in Macquarie Street if they elected an independent. Otherwise, like the two-party system, they'd just be taken for granted.
Well, absolutely not. What regional and rural people need is a strong force within government. They don't need a commentator from the sideline. They need to be part of the winning team. And the winning team to deliver is government. And the Nationals, we hope, will be a very powerful force within a future coalition government.
But the Nats have been on the backslide against the rise of the independents. There's 6 in the bear pit at the moment over this term of the Parliament. You guys have been on the downslide. You're telling us that's going to be reversed because the cynical electorate, can I put it to you, knows that if they can get into a marginal position, they are much more powerful and they can get leverage.
Well, look, the numbers don't support that, Quentin. In the recent federal election, in the Stateline, in my area on the North Coast, there was an 18% primary vote swing against the incumbent independent Mr Oakeshott. In the last state election, we saw a number of independent MPs actually lose their seats, albeit to the Liberal Party, the member for Manly, the member for Pittwater and the member for Hawkesbury. So it's actually the independents that have been going backwards. The Nationals picked up 2 seats in that state election from the Labor Party, being Tweed and Murray-Darling. So I don't think we're going backwards. In fact, the evidence would suggest the independents are, because people know they want a strong government that's going to be in a position to actually change and make a difference to their lives.
You've been saying as shorthand, a vote for an independent is a vote for Labor. I know you're trying to get all the voters to say you've got to get rid of the Labor government, but isn't a vote for the Nationals really a vote for the Liberal Party because you're in indivisible coalition with the Libs?
Well, Quentin, we're not indivisible. Every term we sit down and we have a new agreement, I guess a treaty in the parties, and we always reserve the right to go it alone. That hasn't been the case in New South Wales for a long time because we've got a high level of coalition unity, and I think that's what people actually want to see in a government, is not a factionalised, disunified government. Look, in terms of the line that a vote for an independent ends up being a vote for Labor, look, that's precisely what happened in the recent federal election, again in the seats of Lyne but also New England. People thought they were voting for a Conservative independent. What they got was a government that is a Labor-Greens alliance.
And you say that Rob Oakeshott, who helped deliver government to Labor, the minority Labor party, is going to pay a high price for that?
Well, look, I just listen to people up in my area on the North Coast, and they're expressing to me a fair amount, a feeling of betrayal, that they voted for a guy who they thought, as an ex-national, was a Conservative and would lean towards a coalition federal government. That he didn't, I think, is going pretty badly for him and may well do so at the next election.
Can you say to the electorate before March what your priorities are in, say, the hospital system in regional and rural New South Wales? You say, all these hospitals here, this is what we're going to give you, this is what we're going to deliver for you. Will you come down with the dollars, the quantum, which will demonstrate your commitment?
What we have done, Quentin, is to outline something we called Restart New South Wales, which is a $5 billion infrastructure spend in our first term of government. Part of that infrastructure is going to be health, and 1/3 of that $5 billion will be directed towards regional New South Wales. Break those figures down, it's around $400 million extra infrastructure funding per year for our first term of government. The other policy we've announced is to establish a new body called Infrastructure New South Wales, which will ensure that infrastructure projects are properly planned and properly delivered, so that we get confidence back from the public that what we say is what we'll do. We won't be put off by problems in a marginal seat or a media campaign. This will be properly planned with some degree of independence, so that when we say we're going to build a new hospital, for example, it will happen.
And we'll be able to see it on a website, and a government website, with a timeline and a delivery timeline.
Correct. We'll have a 20-year strategic plan for infrastructure for the good of all of the state of New South Wales, and a 5-year firm, costed timeframe plan as well, so people can have confidence. We'll be measured on our success in actually delivering that, but we think that's a good thing.
Mr McGovern has also raised the suffering of regional and rural New South Wales people in your seat in Oxley in particular, about electricity prices, particularly impacting on small business. We're meant to have a competitive regime, but we've also got a regulator, the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal. Number one, is there a problem? And number two, what can be done about it for a little bit of consumer protection?
Well, look, there is a problem, Quentin, no doubt about it. Consumers, whether they're small businesses or residential customers, are facing some very steep increases in the price of electricity. That's been a result of some pretty bad mismanagement over the last 15 years by a government that has not invested enough in maintaining and upgrading its electricity infrastructure. Now, those price rises have been decided by the IPART because the electricity retailers, the network people, have said we desperately need to upgrade this infrastructure. There's very little that can be done for those increases that have already gone through the system. But what I'll be in a position to do as a senior part of a coalition government is to space out future increases to reduce the impact on families and businesses. What we can do is plan better for the delivery of these infrastructure upgrades so that it doesn't hit consumers in the pocket all at once, and hopefully we can limit the impact on people.
But the whole thing about energy economics will change if the Gillard government puts a price on carbon through an ETS or a carbon tax. Then what happens?
So this is the great unknown, and potentially price increases could be far greater as a result of an ETS. We're waiting on the federal government to tell us exactly what is involved in their ETS. This is not something that the Nationals actually support. We do want action on climate change, but we want pragmatic, positive, practical action rather than these price levers which are going to impact very heavily on individuals and businesses.
You seem to be trying to rebrand yourselves as the new Nationals. What's that mean?
Well, Quentin, if you look back to the history of the National Party, the Country Party, times were different, and regional New South Wales, regional Australia has undergone massive demographic and social changes. We've had to adapt with those changes. We're seeing the tree changes and the sea changes move into regional areas, and we've got to be sensitive to the broad spectrum of people that we now represent. That's what I mean by new Nationals. It's not only about farming and water and those traditional country issues, it's also about environment and planning and education, the full gamut of issues. So yes, we're seeking to move with the times, if you like, but also we've retained our core focus, and that is we're wholly and solely for regional communities. We don't represent metropolitan areas. We're in there to bat, number one, for regional people.
Given the problems of urban consolidation and population growth in Sydney, you really do want a lot of sea changes and tree changes to go to the bush.
Look, absolutely, Quentin. Look, the Nationals have always been great champions of decentralisation. Nothing's changed there.
Except all the jobs are in the city.
Well,
they are not in the bush.
Well, we're working on this, and it's why Barry O'Farrell and I, earlier this year, announced something we called Regional Kickstart, which is three elements. Number one, to invest in infrastructure, and that was the third of that $5 billion I was talking about. Number two is to create jobs in regional, targeting 40,000 jobs in regional New South Wales through payroll tax rebates. Number three is to help people to make the move, to make the decision, and that's through a $7,000 relocation grant. So it's kind of back to the future. We're still about decentralisation, but we've come up with some really positive, practical policies that have drawn widespread praise across regional New South Wales.